Today, for the very first time in my life, I'm going to be taking a look at the show F is for Family. Now, I never really wanted to watch this show because when you're on Netflix, it's always a gamble. How can I put this into better terms, really? Let's say I have a big, nice, juicy sandwich on a plate. It's delicious, it's hot, it's ready to eat, but I forgot my drink, my Diet Dr. Kelp. I have to leave the room for just 1 second. Little did I know, there's a 600-pound man lurking in the shadows, ready to eat my sandwich. He has not had lunch yet. If the man so happens to just go up to it, gobble it down in 2 bites, I get back and it's all gone, that's the equivalent of watching an animated show on Netflix for the first time and it turns out to be shit. Just like, I don't know, Big Mouth, pedophile show, it's awful. But what if that big man keeps his composure and doesn't eat my sandwich? That's the equivalent of coming back and watching Arcane and watching it all the way through and discovering something you absolutely love. It's always a gamble with Netflix because they greenlight everything. And F is for Family, you know, just looking at the artwork, looking at the animation, it just didn't really capture that same feeling as a Arcane, as a Cyberpunk Edgerunners, as a animated show that I genuinely wanted to sit down and watch. It just kind of looked like an average sitcom, so I never really wanted to give it a chance, but maybe it's so much more than that. I mean, give it credit where credit is due. It went on for 5 seasons, so it must be doing something right, but they also gave Big Mouth 8 seasons, so who knows? Today, I'm gonna be seeing if I actually enjoy F is for Family, or if I think it's awful. And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every single day. You don't want to miss it. Bonus content featuring gaming and anime content on the Patreon, link in the description. And if you want to talk to like-minded people about all of this stuff, my Discord will also be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at F is for Family. So instead of my usual best, worst, and random format, I decided to just take a look at the first couple episodes because I feel like if I skip a few seasons ahead into the series, I'm not going to really know what's going on. So we're starting off with the very first episode, The Bleedin' in Sweden, and they do a very good job subverting your expectations initially because this truly did just seem like a happy family. You got Frank just walking in like, hello family, oh it's so good to see ya, oh how you doing in school everybody, oh the grades, they good? And then this man gets a phone call. It's basically the same equivalent. I mean, the show takes place in 1973. It's the equivalent of how kids today are, or just any introverted person when they get a phone call, they just hear it ringing and they're like, ah! Ah! You know, they just start freaking out a little bit because they just don't want to answer that phone. Like, why won't you text me? This man hears his landline ringing and he starts going, oh my God. Everybody's just trying to get in the way of my family. I come home after a long day's work and this is how you treat me? It's, very interesting to watch this man go from, how was school everybody? How y'all doing? Ah, God, I love my family, to just crashing out violently and just beating the telephone.
What did you just say to me? You come down here and you say that to me like a man. I swear to God, I'll pull your tongue out through your goddamn neck.
And this man on the other side of the phone is just like, oh, hello, sir. Oh, yes, would you like to buy a Bible? Oh, would you like to invest Jesus Christ into your life? Oh, yes. Oh, he's getting angry at me. Oh. You know, like it's just a struggle that he has to go through now because this man just decided to be a force of nature and he literally has to go outside into his garage and start punching a sandbag because he's just that angry of a fella. And I thought that was pretty funny, you know, he's just a very angry guy. A kid rolls up to his garage while he's punching his sandbag and he's like, get the fuck out of here! You know, just getting so unbelievably angry, but that was a great introduction to the series because it actually got me a little bit invested. Obviously, there are a lot of sitcoms that are just like this where it's a family that has their problems, but the hardest part of that is trying to do something different. You got Family Guy, you got The Simpsons, you got so many different families in this animated world that you have to find a way to stand out, and so far it's kind of the same energy as a lot of those shows, but it feels a little bit more grounded, so I'm a lot more for it. So we then cut to the entire family sitting around the TV enjoying life, and all of a sudden there's a commercial for an important boxing match, and Frank, he realizes that he must be the top dog. He's got to puff out his chest, go around the neighborhood, tell everybody that he is the man, taking off his pants, slapping his big ol' schlong on the table and saying, look at it, now you're gonna watch the boxing fight at my house with my TV. He doesn't actually do that, but that's basically how he feels. He just needs to have all of that aura in his life. he needs to be that guy that everybody wants to come and see and watch that fight with. So he goes outside and we get to see a little bit of the family dynamic. He has one son that's basically like a thug, like basically like, I hate the world and I hate you, Dad. Get the fuck away from me, Dad. Like basically like that, and he's going to a girl's house, and I just can't fathom why Frank would ever say something like this, or even the implications of it. He's going to a girl's house, and Frank says, I don't want any half-slut grandkids.
Stay away from that loose girl down on River Street. I don't want any half-slut grandkids.
We're not doing anything.
What do you mean by half-slut? Like, are you implying that the girl would be the slut and your son who ran over there and just, you know, slorked it on in isn't also therefore a slut, a dirty little man slut, because he did the same thing? I don't know what he's implying. It makes me feel like Frank thinks he has a pure bloodline or something, just a little bit odd. And then we get to see some classic children racism. Oh, children can't do anything wrong. They can't possibly do anything wrong. But we see them go over to this guy's house, and they're playing with a magnet, and it gets stuck on this house. And this guy, he's just an average German fella. He's just like, oh yes, Wiener Schnitzel. Okay, that was a little bit fucked up. Either way, that's not important. They look at this guy, and they hear him talk, and he's like, he must be related to Hitler! You know? Like, can you imagine just being like a nice old man, just minding your own business? He even opens his door and he's like, hello, son, how are you today? And they just start calling him Hitler and run away. That's pretty sad in a way. Oh yes, let's move to America. We'll be rejoiced. It's so nice there. Oh, Hitler. You know, like that's just a darn shame for that guy. Either way, that plot line was dropped pretty dang fast. I was kind of hoping that we would get to see more of that fella because he seemed like a nice fella. So we then cut to Frank talking to all his friends about having everybody over, and then we get to see the actual Chad of the neighborhood. He's got his babe and just starts tugging her while saying, oh, hey Frank, you want to come over and watch the fight at my crib? You know, I got a color TV. But Frank, because he had already flopped his schlong on the table, just a big old thud, he can't resist. He has to say he's got a bigger TV and better colors. And as this is going on, Bill and all of the friends and the sister Marine, they're all playing this game where they climb inside of a barrel and roll it down a hill, and they end up like making some bullies very angry, so they're like, I'm gonna kill ya. Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill ya. So Bill's running away. We got that thrilling plotline going on. Frank and his wife Sue, they go to the TV store, and I actually do really like this sequence because that must have been a pretty cool concept. Like, imagine walking into a TV store, seeing color TVs for the first time, and you're like, oh my god, the TV! It can look like the real world! Ah, yes, the progression of society in such a beautiful, majestic way. Oh, wow! Oh, the colors, they tickle my brain just right. That's basically how they react to seeing color TVs for the first time. And so, we then cut to this scene with Kevin, which actually made me like really fucking uncomfortable, where he's making out with the girl that he went to go see, and he like wants to touch her in a, you know, inappropriate way, and she initially says, I don't know, you know, basically an unconsensual statement, okay? I don't want you to touch me. And Kevin like does something vulgar that kind of pisses me off, like,
oh, come on, babe. You're so pretty. You're so beautiful. Oh, come on. Don't make me sad. Oh, come on. You're so beautiful.
And that just made me fucking uncomfortable. I didn't like that at all.
Don't tell anybody.
No.
Don't let me touch you.
No.
Come on. You're so pretty and you're so cool and I really like you. And
that made me very dislike Kevin in like every single way, and they try to redeem him right away, but that does not take away from the fact that a girl just said no to him and he started begging and pleading down on his knees.
Please let me touch it. Please let me touch it. I can't contain myself.
Like, that was just bad. Like, that gave me bad Kevin vibes. Then they run over and they tell Kevin that Bill is in danger, so Kevin goes over and beats the shit out of the bullies and his little brother for making him not be able to get some nice tail. So, yeah, that's my introduction to Kevin fully, and I don't like him as a character so far. I like that he cares for his brother, but that entire interaction with that girl just felt unbelievably wrong to me in a lot of ways. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. So we then cut to Frank, who has this brand new TV. He's sitting there, and he's basically just pogging all night long at this colorful TV, just like, just losing his mind because, you know, it's unfathomable. Fuck you. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's so wonderful that he has this colorful TV, and he passes out, and that's when Bill, who's been playing with this shit-ass magnet, comes over, and I don't know, he's just like, bottom of the barrel, run to the family, you know, a wasted jism, something that should have ended up in a napkin, because he walks over, and he's like, oh man, this fucking magnet, man, it's making the TV glitch out, I'm just gonna put it right on top, and he breaks and destroys the TV, a brand new $600 TV. What a little piece of shit, huh? What a little shit. So, he immediately goes and tells Kevin about this. Kevin tells him to hide in bed. And well, Frank goes to the store very angry and basically crashes out on the like store employee. And honestly, I mean, if he didn't buy a warranty, I thought that the store clerk handled this perfectly. Like if I was working in retail and this guy bought a $1,000 TV, okay, bought it nicely, and I asked, hey sir, you know, you spent $1,000 on this TV. Would you like a $50 warranty that'll last you 5 years? And, you know, you could come and get a new one if anything happens to it. He's like, I don't need the warranty. I don't need it. It's not something I want. You stupid fuck. And I'm just like, okay. My bad. And then this dude comes back the next day with a broken TV. I'd probably react the same, telling him, hey, let me hold the door for you, sir. Get the fuck out of here. You know, that's how I would react. So this guy was on top of it. Frank goes home and starts harassing his children, you know, pretty reasonably. And then we get to see that Kevin is a Chad because Bill is about to confess, and Kevin's like, I did it. And he went so hard with this because, I mean, it's one thing to confess to breaking a TV, but his dad asks him why, and Kevin's like, I fucking hate you, Dad.
Then why the hell would you tell me you did?
Because I fucking hate you!
I hate you so much. And Frank goes outside to cry about it, which I guess shows his humanity and his care for his child. But I don't know, at the same time, like, why would Kevin even do, like, Kevin just had the need to say that for no reason. Like, he didn't even commit the crime. He just hates his father, and that was great. You know, I mean, maybe if, like, there was more of a dynamic, like, kind of in Shrek 4, when that one dad is walking around, like, give the roar, and, you know, his son's like, give the roar, I love you, daddy. Like, they need more of that dynamic, you know? You can't just let your son go and, like, be a little pissed baby boy to women, being like, please, can I touch it? You know, you gotta grip him by the hand, take him to see every Shrek movie. I guess it's 1973, take him to see, I don't know, fucking Star Wars. You gotta be a better father here, Frank. What are you doing? Your son hates you. And I didn't really like that there was no, like, reconciliation there. I mean, maybe it's going to happen later in the series, but I don't know. There was never a moment where Frank, like, talked to his son about it. It was just kind of dropped because immediately Bill's all like, hey, Dad, actually, it was me with this magnet. Just confesses right away. But that actually does lead to a, like, you know, decent nonsense where he drives his son back to the store, and this didn't really make sense to me. Like, what were you expecting? Like, he sends his son into the store to apologize for breaking the TV when they didn't take the TV back and they clearly didn't give a shit about you. Like, that clerk humiliated you in front of a lot of people, and you want to send your son in to be like, hey, sir, I'm so sorry, I broke my dad's TV. Like, are you hoping he'll give you a new TV because your son's a fuck-up? Of course he won't. But the son decides to destroy every TV with every single magnet while nobody's looking, so they end up getting a new TV anyway. Huzzah! Yes! Yes! So, that was pretty cool. Like, good for him. They get a new TV. It's happy. It's lovely. It's great that we get a good father-son dynamic at the end there where he lets his son sip a beer for the first time. You know, just good shit like that. And then the episode ends with, you know, I guess the only part of serialization where he gets a phone call and he finds out his boss is dead, and he's just like, holy shit, my boss is dead? This is great fucking news. Oh my, I'm gonna get a promotion. Which is a wild reaction, as boss must have really sucked for that to be your initial thought. But hey, go him. That's the end of the first episode, and honestly, I had a lot of fun here. This is listed as the worst episode in the entire series, or at least the lowest rated, and I thought it was fun. You know, I really like the dynamic between a lot of the characters. It feels different from a lot of other adult animated sitcoms. The characters are all different, so it doesn't really feel like a copy and paste. It feels like that same kind of formula with the family, but all the characters are so different, it doesn't really feel the same. I thought the progression of the episode was a lot of fun. I thought all the characters were a lot of fun. I like the little side plots thrown in there. I like the characters, like, story being put in place and how it will proceed in the season. So overall, pretty decent. If I was to rate it 1 through 10, I would probably give it a solid 7 out of 10. Pretty decent. Taking a look at episode 2, we have the episode Saturday, Bloody Saturday, and I know it's just a sitcom show, but it still manages to feel fresh. I actually kind of like this episode a little bit more than the first one. So this episode opens, and it does follow up on that plot line of Kevin and Frank dealing with that father-son dynamic, which is what I was hoping for in episode 1, immediately getting rectified in episode 2, so I'm all for that. And Kevin, he apparently has been failing school. He's almost failed every single class, and his mother decides, I really need Frank to come home and be in a good mood. I'm begging you, so we're gonna hide this for now. And Frank comes home, and I like his immediate reaction where he's just like sitting in the car for a second, like, you know what typical dads do who secretly hate their lives, just sitting there holding the steering wheel like, okay, I guess I'll go in. He goes in, he sees his dog, and his dog runs up, and he's like, you know what? You're the only thing that understands me in this family, and the dog just starts aggressively humping him.
Hey, bud. At least somebody in this family gives a shit about me. Hey, stop it. Get off.
Like, can you imagine that? You work all day, probably like 9-10 hour days. You come home to a family where you immediately start fighting and you want to confide into the dog, and the dog just starts treating you like a bitch and just, you know, just slamming his horkin' balls into you. That's just a sad existence a little bit. So he gets inside, and again, I really like the family dynamic. I like that it's just like no nonsense. He doesn't give a shit. His son is all like, oh, here comes the dictator, and he's like, I don't care, you fucking disappointment, get out of here. And so he sits down, and then his son just immediately starting nonsense, just forking it down his father's throat that he failed school in every way, which makes his son very, very angry, very upset. And Kevin has the audacity, the chutzpah, to say that Frank is just a baggage handler, and Frank just can't take it. It looks like he's about to beat his son, but we cut to the intro, and we skip over to the next day, and Frank is going to take Kevin to the airport, and I really don't know how to feel about this parenting tactic. I mean, it's a little bit funny. So Frank gets Kevin in the car, is driving him, and I don't really understand Kevin's logic here. Okay, my dad is really pissed at me about failing my grades. I need to come up with something. So he just comes up with the fact that his teacher likes to rub up against him, and he probably gives his teacher a boner. Like, what kind of concept is that? My dad's angry with me. You know, Dad, my teacher, I think I give him a big old stinky boner. It's not my fault that I don't have good grades. If my teacher wants to have sex with me, then wouldn't it be the exact opposite? You know, if your teacher wanted to be a horrible, awful person and go after a child, wouldn't they give you good grades? I'm not really seeing the bigger picture here. That's my problem. So Frank, he starts just giving him the good old conversation like, you know what, Kevin? I'm gonna put you in the army. You're gonna be going to Vietnam, and as you walk past a little Vietnam boy, you're gonna have to shoot him in the head, Kevin. This rightfully so makes Kevin very terrified, and he starts crying, but in reality, he's just gonna go with Kevin to the airport to see what he does that day, to hopefully gain a deeper appreciation for baggage handling. Yes! Yes! So we have a couple of more side plots going on in this episode where Bill has to watch Maureen for the day because the mom is doing some very important stuff. So Bill is watching his little sister, and his little sister just basically has a death wish, like constantly running into traffic, constantly doing all of this stuff. She's just constantly like wanting to die, basically. You know how like if you gave a baby, a toddler, a fork, like it would just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden it would just be like, outlet now, and just shove it in there and kill itself. Or like if you left the oven open for 1 second, it's been preheating to 400 degrees, it would just immediately start sprinting for it because babies just inherently want to die. That is basically what Maureen is doing. She almost gets hit in traffic. She literally like goes through the slip and slide, falls through it, and almost gets hit. And it's the German guy, and he's like, oh no, are you okay? And they all just start going, Hitler, run! Man, what's with the German man harassment? I guarantee you there's going to be an episode somewhere in the series where somebody has to like spend a day with this guy, like helping him in some kind of way, and they realize that he's a normal guy. Or it's just going to be a running joke that, you know, all of these children hate Germans. Which, you know, I guess if you're a kid and all you know is Hitler, then I guess what else would you think? Who knows? I don't know. So they deal with all that, with Maureen trying to kill herself, and then at the same time, Frank, he's with his son, and his son eventually sneaks away, goes out a door, and finds some, like, losers to smoke with and do drugs with, while Frank is talking to the big boss. And this guy is just gonna straight up fucking die. I've never seen a man portrayed in a cartoon that I was just blatantly waiting for him to have a heart attack in, like, every way. Like, genuinely, his heart must just be going, boom, boom, help! Boom, boom, help! Like, you could probably hear it if you listen close enough, because this guy, he's like 600 pounds, he's smoking like in the like 3-minute conversation he has with Frank, he goes through like 5 cigarettes. He's eating just loads of KFC, and as he's talking to Frank about, you know, stopping a potential union, he's just like talking dirty to it, like, oh, that's a good cigarette. Oh, let me get that chicken. Oh God, I wish they would just make the skin.
There's no discipline anymore. So you're the new sheriff, and I'm counting on you to lay down the law. Good skin.
Oh God. You know, like getting real dirty with it. Like, I guarantee you this man probably just goes to bed in like brown gravy just sludged all over him and just like is moaning vigorously as he falls asleep to the brown gravy on his body. Like, I don't know. And then he like loses a biscuit and he starts crashing out. He's like, what is this, 3 biscuits? It's supposed to have 4! As he's already eaten 2 buckets of chicken, and he finds a biscuit underneath his big old belly roll. And he's like, oh, this is good. So he consumes that.
4! That's what's wrong with this country! Oh, here it is.
And I was just waiting for him to die. I'm actually kind of disappointed that he didn't die. Call me a bad person, call it wrong. But this man, like, I don't even know how he's chugging on. Like, they probably need a crane to lift him up. He probably needs to use a scooter just to go, like, 5 feet. I just don't know how he's alive. But Frank is tasked with going around and trying to stop all this nonsense from happening around the airport and stop everybody from trying to union. And he eventually gets in an argument with a little girl. At the same time, the mom, she's home alone for like the first time in a while, and she's sitting there like, oh yes, I'm so excited to finally relax, be myself a little bit. Ooh. And you know, it's quiet, it's too quiet, and she starts like crying, like aggressively. And I'm thinking, oh, this is sad, you know, she hates her life a little bit. But then you just look underneath the table and the dog's just going to town on her leg. So she's just bawling her eyes out and the dog's like, this is a perfect time.
Oh, God.
And that made me burst out laughing. That was probably the funniest I laughed at the show. Just the entire idea of somebody being super existential about their life, about what they've done in their life, and just like the dog being like, well, man, I don't want to make you better. Let me start humping you. You know, I just think that's a little bit funny, to say the least. So Bill is with Maureen, and Maureen falls off a building and almost dies again, so he yells at her, and that's pretty much the end of that storyline. They yell at each other, but they reconcile because Maureen genuinely was just trying to kill herself. And then Frank is getting yelled at by this old woman. Kevin walks over after he watches a bunch of those guys like continuously watch a video of a guy dying on a safety training video, and they're laughing at it, and Kevin has the realization, oh, maybe I should stop being such a dipshit so I don't end up like these guys. He walks over, he looks at this old woman who's yelling at his father, and he's like,
Can you shut the fuck up?
and they just walk out, and then they have some father and son bonding because they straight up told that Karen to go die. Good. Wonderful. Great. That's pretty much the entire episode. I really did like this one. I think all of the side plots were managed well. I like the progression with the wife's character, Sue. I enjoy her progression a lot. I think it's going to be very interesting where the show will go with her character and how she's reacting to the world, because it's kind of clear that she hates her life in a way, so I wonder what that's going to play as a role. I like the progression in Maureen and Bill's relationship, becoming better brother and sisters. Kevin and his father actually progressing, like learning a little bit about each other, a more of an understanding compared to where we were in episode 1. That conflict was immediately resolved, and I feel a lot better. I liked it. I liked the story. I liked the progression. I laughed at this episode. Overall, if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give this one a solid 8 out of 10. It doesn't do anything extraordinary, but it was entertaining throughout, and it's something that I could rewatch and be perfectly happy doing it. Taking a look at episode 3, The Trough, this episode just progresses the characters in a lot more ways and creates more conflicts for future episodes. Not a lot of it is really worth talking about, but there are a couple of moments that genuinely made me laugh. So, Frank is taking Bill to the game because Kevin didn't do his history homework, so Kevin gets to miss out on the game, so Kevin decides that he wants to go and get high. And before all that, they're watching this TV show, and it's very weird. It's the show they've been watching this whole time, but I've never really paid much attention to it because they haven't really had the characters talk. I don't know who would watch this slop, but it's like this Italian guy, and he's all like, you know what I do for a profession? And the girl's all like, what? He's like, I smack broads, and he punches this woman in the face. She falls to the ground, and then they just start passionately making out.
Smacking broads.
Danger wears a deep.
And that was just odd. Like, I don't know how you could justify watching something like that. Oh yes, this man loves to hit women and then they just make out after he beats them. Oh boy, what a thrilling character to watch. I don't know, I just had to highlight there. So Frank is gonna take Bill to the game. They're driving there, and this entire moment was so funny because, I mean, it's kind of real in a sense, to where, you know, when you pull up to a little side of the road and you don't really want to make eye contact with the homeless person who's staring daggers at you. Just, you know, they're just sitting there, and it's one thing to be polite, but they're just staring at you like this.
Can you bless me? Money-wise, I need something. Can you bless me?
So you don't want to make eye contact with them, especially if you don't have anything to give at that time, because normally, like, I don't really like giving money. Like, I'd rather give a homeless person a can of food. At least that way I know that it's benefiting them, that they have food. That way I know what they're going to spend it on. That's what I choose to do if I'm ever going to give that, and I don't usually carry cans of food with me, so I'm just staring there like, and then they make eye contact, and then you feel bad. In the show, it just, you know, exemplifies and amplifies that entire idea, because fucking Frank sees a homeless guy start walking to his car, and he's like, oh shit, I made eye contact, we need to get out of here now! And he starts driving away, runs a red light, all to get away from this guy while screaming in agony, which I thought was inherently pretty dang funny.
You help a brother out?
Shit, I made eye contact.
Don't kill me, I have a family!
So they get to the game, and they're in corporate seats, and it turns out that their boss, like the owner of the airport, he shows up as well. And he's with his girlfriend Brandy, who is, you know, clearly like 40 years younger than him and a little bit stupid, but I thought that was interesting nonetheless, and that leads to some interesting conversations and one very interesting scene. At the same time, Kevin is down in like a gutter way, smoking, and he's just smoking that that ganj for the majority of the episode. He eventually has a big realization that he misses his father and he needs to start getting his act together because he's so high that he imagines a good day with his dad. Yeah, okay, cool. That's what weed's gonna do to you for sure, huh? So at the same time, there's this thing going on in the mall with Sue and Maureen, where Sue has to talk to a girl whose life is apparently falling apart, and Sue has to listen to her. It's one of those people that you never want to listen to. All the side plots in this episode were just kind of whatever. Kevin's was interesting. The Sue plot was really boring, but it was just like average. I wouldn't say it's not entertaining, just definitely not my favorite. And so Frank, he's at the game, and his son is begging and pleading to go and take a little pissy. And Brandy, the girlfriend, she's all like, I can take you, boy. Let's go. Come on. Oh, come on. So they walk there. And right before they leave, the owner of the airport, he says, don't you dare eat a hot dog. I need you to keep your figure. And we immediately cut to her just slamming a hot dog down her throat. Fucking bitch can't tell me what to do. I'll eat whatever I want. So Bill, he has to go to the bathroom really bad. He goes on his own, and I have never seen a more horrifying depiction of a men's bathroom. Like, just to be this tiny man, and I don't like that there were so many men with their pants all the way down. Ladies, if you're watching this, if a man pulls his pants all the way down at a urinal, he is a spawn of fucking Satan and a horrible person, and everybody knows that. If you pull your pants all the way down and your bare ass is hanging out while you're taking a piss, you shouldn't exist, and you should just, like, you know, you need to do something about it, because nobody likes you at all. It's weird. And so he's just watching everybody piss. I think there's a scene where he stares at a man's ball sack and just wonder and fear. As he's walking out, you could just see a man taking the massive shit ever, like with the door open. It just was a horrifying depiction of a men's bathroom, and I honestly loved every single minute of it. I thought it was hilarious to make it something like that terrifying. Either way, that was pretty fun. So then eventually Kevin, he gets caught by the police, so he runs away and gets in the German guy's car, and it turns out that he's Jewish. Wow! So instead of them thinking that he's Hitler, they now think he's a Satan worshiper because of the star, which I thought was a funny way to just keep the prejudice against this man. That was great, wonderful. And that's pretty much the entire episode. They get all the way home. There was a bunch of conversations between Frank and the boss, and they eventually stopped at this bar. Just a bunch of the conversations about the union and which side Frank is going to pick, which is interesting, but not really that worth talking about in a mainly comedy channel, especially when I'm not deep diving into the show. It's just kind of whatever. This episode itself was just kind of whatever. If I was to rate it 1 through 10, I would probably give it like a solid 6. You know, it was okay. Just mainly story progression stuff, a couple of laughs here and there, but some of the B plots were just kind of whatever. The Kevin one was just mainly him smoking the Zaw, a little bit of progression for his character. And the Sue one, yeah, we learned that, like, she's upset about her marriage, but it was ultimately not that interesting, at least for me. So it kind of hindered the episode a little bit, but overall, it was fine, decent, 6 out of 10, not that bad. F is for Family is better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a typical family sitcom, like a bunch of cynical people. The dad hates his life, hates his children, which it kind of is because he does hate some of his kids, and he is going through it, and he hates his life. But just the way the show is presented with his anger and his interactions with his kids actually feels a little bit fresh, and I actually care about what's going on in the world with the characters. So overall, I thought it was a little bit fun and entertaining throughout the entire 25-minute episode, which a lot of shows can't do nowadays. I was invested in all the characters, even though I barely know them. It was a lot of fun. So those first 3 episodes, they give me the impression that F is for Family is actually a really decent show, and it's a show that I wouldn't mind checking out more of. So overall, would recommend. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Uploads every single day. Take care. Goodbye. See ya.